Well, brothers and sisters, if you've got your Bibles, grab them and open to Proverbs 3. Proverbs 3. We're going to be in verses 13 through 18. If you don't have a Bible, feel free to grab one of those Bibles that's in front of you in the pew backs. That is now your Bible. Take that home, read it. If you have any questions about it, come back next Sunday, and I'd love to answer them to the best of my ability. Well, as you're flipping there, we recently taught our daughter Emerson how to say, "Where are you?" But she's only 15 months, so it just comes out as, "Are you?" And she says it all the time. So if I say, "Emmy, where's Mama?" she starts walking around and she says, "Are you? Are you?" Or if I say, "Emmy, where's Allie?" That's her stuffed alligator that she sleeps with. She starts walking around and she starts saying, "Are you? Are you?" This is a question that everyone can relate to. All of us are trying to find something. In particular, all of us are asking, where are you? Happiness. Where can I find happiness? I Googled this week, finding happiness, and there was 913 million search results. Most of those links went to websites with top 10 lists for how you can be happy. All different stuff, by the way. So again, everyone's asking, where are you? Happiness. So I wonder this morning, are you trying to find happiness in your job? Are you trying to find happiness in your family or in the size of your bank account? Again, we all ask, where are you? Happiness. Where can I find you? So again, I wonder, where are you trying to find happiness this morning? Thankfully, this isn't a question that we have to navigate through 900 million search results for. We can simply open up God's Word to this very chapter, Proverbs 3, verses 13 through 18, and we can find the answers. So brothers and sisters, would you stand with me for the reading of God's Word? Blessed is the one who finds wisdom, and the one who gets understanding. For the gain from her is better than gain from silver, and her profit better than gold. She is more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who lay hold of her. Those who hold her fast are called blessed. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our God stands forever. Amen. You can be seated. Well, throughout Proverbs, we've seen that Solomon wants his son to pursue wisdom. And in our last section, in verses 1 through 12, we saw Solomon talk about the blessings that come when one walks in wisdom. But now he's going to unpack the blessedness of wisdom. More on that in a second. But again, read verse 13 with me. It says, "Blessed is the one who finds wisdom, and the one who gets understanding." So again, as we look at this verse, the first question we need to ask is, what does it mean to be blessed? Well, some of your translations here might also say happy, that this is talking about a state of blessedness or happiness. It's not the same word as blessing, but they're deeply connected. It's the state of being blessed and experiencing happiness. You might think of it like a tree that's flourishing. If you've ever been to my apartment, then you know that I live off of University, close to the bowling alley. I'm not going to give you my address. It's definitely not the nicest part of town, but in my opinion, it has the best trees in Denton. And this is especially true in the spring and early summer, that during this time the trees are green and flourishing, and as you drive past them, you can't help but think about Psalm 1. The psalmist says this, "Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does, he prospers." So the blessed man walks according to the law of the Lord. He delights in it. Why? Because, well, one, the law of the Lord's from God, but God also uses it to nourish the blessed man. He makes him flourish like a tree. The Puritan Thomas Watson makes this observation about this reality when he says this, "Blessedness lies in the fruition of the chief good. It is not every good that makes man blessed, but it must be the supreme good, and that is God." That's why if you've ever memorized the Westminster Short of Catechism, you know that it says, what is the chief end of man? Man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy him forever. Men and women created in the image of God are happy and flourishing when they enjoy God and walk in his ways. So what then does wisdom have to do with all of this? Well, let's remember what biblical wisdom is. We haven't talked about it. We haven't talked about its definition in several months now. But biblical wisdom is the skill to live a blessed life in God's world according to God's ways for God's glory. And so if we want to find wisdom and happiness, then we need to go to God and we need to go to his word. This is why Proverbs 9:10 says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." God is the source of all wisdom and happiness. And so if we want to be happy, if we want to be wise, then we need to humble ourselves before God. We need to fear him. And we need to acknowledge that none of us are as wise as we think we are or as we'd like to be. John Calvin says, "All men naturally aspire after happiness, but instead of searching for it in the right path, they designedly prefer wandering up and down through endless bypaths to their ruin and destruction." Brothers and sisters, we don't have to walk down a path to destruction. We don't have to walk down folly's path. We don't have to blindly search for happiness. God has given us his wisdom and his word. And so as we enter into the rest of this passage, let's set our minds on enjoying God. Let's listen and be instructed by his word. And as we leave here, let's walk according to its wisdom and enjoy the happiness that comes with it. And so this brings us to the main idea of our passage. If you're taking notes, write this down. Kids, if you got your kid sheet, you can write this in the top box. But those who find God's wisdom find happiness. Let me say that one more time. Those who find God's wisdom find happiness. And so as we move through our passage, we're going to find that wisdom is first a treasure. We're going to see that in verses 14 through 15. Then we're going to also see that wisdom is a benefactor in verses 16 and 17. And then lastly, we'll see that wisdom is a tree of life. And so look with me at verses 14 and 15. So again, we're going to see that wisdom is a treasure. Notice the comparison that Solomon makes between wisdom and money. He first says that wisdom is more profitable than money. He says, for the gain from her, referring to wisdom, is better than gain from silver, and her profit better than gold. But secondly, he says that wisdom is also more desirable than money. The text says that she is more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. To put it in modern language, wisdom is worth more than having a fat bank account and a 7-figure salary. Christian, listen, it's better to have Christ's wisdom than it is to be as rich as Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. So I wonder, do you believe that today? Do you believe that as inflation rates rise? Do you believe that when you don't get that raise or that new job? Or do you believe that when you can't buy that house? Again, wisdom is better than riches. Let's remember who's writing this. Solomon was the richest man of his day. He had houses, he had vineyards, he had gardens, he had parks, he had pools, he had servants, he had herds, he had flocks, he had singers and concubines. Yet at the end of his life, he didn't tell us to all go get the same things. No, he said all of those things ended up being vanity because he knew that he was going to die. He couldn't take those things with him. But this is what Solomon tells us at the end of his life in Ecclesiastes 12. He says to fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. All of the money in the world can't make you truly happy. Only Christ can. He's the one in whom are hidden all treasures of wisdom and knowledge. And while worldly riches will fade away, Christ's wisdom is forever. And so let's treasure Christ. Well, we've seen that we should rightly value wisdom. But what do we gain from wisdom? What are its benefits? Well, again, look with me at verses 16 and 17. In these verses, we see wisdom presented as a rich benefactor, that she's a queen that has long life in one hand and riches and honor in the other. And so when we find wisdom, that's what we find. We find long life, riches, honor, pleasantness, and peace. And we're going to unpack those in 1 second. But I want you right now, flip with me to 1 Kings 3. This is going to give us some context for what Solomon's talking about. So again, 1 Kings 3. As you're flipping there, let me catch you up to what's going on in the passage. So the Lord's appeared to Solomon in a dream. And in verse 5, the Lord tells Solomon, "Ask what I shall give you." And Solomon doesn't ask for a long life. He doesn't ask for riches. He doesn't ask for all of his enemies to get stomped out. Instead, he asks for wisdom. This is what he says in verse 9. "Give your servant, therefore, an understanding mind to govern your people, that I may discern between good and evil. For who is able to govern this, your great people?" He's asking the Lord, make me wise so that I can lead Israel well. And this is how the Lord responds. Look at verse 10. "It pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this. And God said to him, because you have asked this and have not asked for yourself long life or riches or the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself understanding to discern what is right, behold, I now do according to your word. Behold, I give you a wise and discerning mind, so that none like you has been before you, and none like you shall rise after you. I give you also what you have not asked, both riches and honor, so that no other king can compare with you all your days. And if you will walk in my ways, keeping my statutes and my commandments, as your father David walked, then I will lengthen your days. Brothers and sisters, God isn't calling us to govern a nation, but we want to have the same posture that Solomon had, that we should desire first God's wisdom over riches, over health. Having said that, though, we need to recognize that being wise generally leads to these things. So again, I'm not saying that because you're wise, that means that you're automatically going to be rich, that you're automatically going to live a long time. We live in a very complicated world, but we want to recognize that wisdom is helpful for these things. An old proverb helps us understand how this is true. This isn't in the Bible, but you probably know it. Give a man a fish, and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime. So what's it saying? It's better to know how to fish than to simply be given a fish. And it's the same with wisdom. So would you flip back with me to Proverbs 3? Again, we see the first benefit of wisdom, and we see that it's a long life. We want to recognize that all of our days have been numbered by God. We don't get to counsel him on how long we live. He has sovereignly appointed when every one of us, when Jono, when Quentin, when Ryan, when Alex, he has sovereignly appointed when we will live and when we will die. Having said that, wisdom is a means by which he preserves our lives. That in general, wisdom can help us navigate situations that could damage or end our lives. And so wisdom can, as we saw in Proverbs 1, that it can protect us from walking like those that lie and steal and murder and end up being judged according to those things. It can also guard us from a sexually promiscuous lifestyle that can lead to broken relationships or disease or even death. But wisdom can also help us avoid poverty and financial ruin. And so this brings us to the second benefit of wisdom. It says riches and honor. God hasn't promised that everyone here is going to be a millionaire. But wisdom does help us steward our money well. That's a really good thing. That's why even this fall we're going to start a class to help our church know how to steward their money well. We need wisdom in that regard. But here are 3 proverbs that help us navigate the complexity of managing our finances. This is Proverbs 6, 9 through 11. How long will you lie there, O sluggard? When will you arise from your sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man. Proverbs 10, verse 4, a slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. And lastly, Proverbs 13, 11, wealth gained hastily, or it could be translated as by fraud, will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. In all of these proverbs, we can see how wisdom can guard us. It reminds us of the dangers of being lazy and not working. It reminds us of the dangers of procrastinating when it comes to budgeting or paying our bills. And it reminds us of the dangers of cutting corners to try to get ahead. And so this brings us to our third and fourth benefits of wisdom: pleasantness and peace. What Solomon is saying here is that wisdom's paths are delightful. They lead to joy and happiness. And so when we walk according to God's wisdom, we can have peace of mind. We don't have to second guess every decision. We don't have to be worried about everything falling apart all the time. With wisdom, there's security and stability. And so Solomon is holding all these things out to his son, and he's saying, look at the benefits of wisdom. Don't reject her. He's saying, find her and don't let her go. But if the son rejects wisdom, he won't find these benefits. That instead, what he'll likely find are death, poverty, strife, and despair. On Thursday morning, I woke up to a text message from a close friend. He had let me know that our friend from youth group, he was a couple years younger than us, but he let me know that he had passed away. He had battled addiction for many years, and it was encouraging seeing his Facebook. It looked like he was getting his life back on track. He was getting the help he needed. And I don't know exactly what happened, but he overdosed on Wednesday. He was a beautiful person. He was always the funniest guy in the room. But folly took my friend away. It ended his life. Brothers and sisters, we should hate sin. We should hate folly. It destroys happiness. It destroys life. And it corrodes peace. And so I wonder this morning, have you forgotten the benefits of wisdom? You might think about it this way. What area of your life isn't marked by peace and pleasantness? What's that thing that keeps you up at night? Or maybe what's that thing that you don't want anyone poking around in, anyone knowing? Is it something in your marriage? Is it something going on in your parenting? Is it your relationship with your boyfriend or girlfriend? Or is it something with your finances? Maybe at best it could be that lack of peace is there just because you're lacking wisdom. And brother and sister, if that's you, I would encourage you, go ask for help. Ask someone that's walked down that path before, that has the wisdom that can help you. But at worst, could it be that lack of peace you're experiencing is because you've been foolish? That maybe you've neglected God's wisdom and have instead settled for your own. If all of us are honest, we've all trusted in our own wisdom over God's wisdom. That like Adam and Eve, we've all been wise in our own eyes. And yet our text has good news for those that recognize their foolishness and find wisdom. Look with me at verse 18. It says, "She," referring to wisdom, "is a tree of life to those that lay hold of her. Those who hold her fast are called blessed." The tree of life is only explicitly mentioned in 3 books of the Bible. And the first book is Genesis. So if you're familiar with the book of Genesis, then you'll know that the tree of life was in the Garden of Eden. And so if Adam ate from this tree, he would have been confirmed as righteous, and he would have been rewarded with eternal life. But as we know, Adam didn't eat from this tree. Instead, he ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And because of this, Adam and Eve and all of their descendants were cursed with sin and death. Yet we see the tree of life referenced explicitly again in Proverbs. In our passage, we see that wisdom is referred to as a tree of life. And so like the tree in the garden, wisdom offers life and happiness. And we might be tempted to think that this is just a a temporary life and happiness that are in view here. But again, remember, we're talking about the tree of life. And also, we need to remember who the Bible says wisdom is. While we see wisdom personified in Proverbs, the New Testament shows us wisdom incarnate, Jesus Christ. That 1 Corinthians 1:30 tells us that Jesus Christ became to us wisdom from God, righteousness and sanctification and redemption. And yet this Jesus wasn't just wisdom, but he is also the true and better Adam. That's why we sing, see the true and better Adam, come to save the hell-bound man. Christ, the sure and great fulfillment of the law in which we stand. While the first Adam walked according to his own wisdom, Jesus walked according to God's wisdom. And in God's wisdom, Jesus went to the cross. The one who was worthy to eat from the tree of life was hung on a tree of death. And he didn't die for the wise. He didn't die for the righteous. He died for sinners and fools like you and me. And now the risen Jesus offers even the most foolish sinner eternal life. He offers salvation to all who would hold fast to him by faith. And listen to what he promises to those that find him. To the one who conquers, I will grant to eat of the tree of life, which is in the paradise of God. That's Revelation 2:7. Christian, let that truth warm your soul today. You will eat from the tree of life, and you will be happy in paradise with Christ forever. Listen to this description of that life to come in Revelation 22. Then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, bright as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb through the middle of the street of the city. Also on either side of the river, the tree of life with its 12 kinds of fruit, yielding its fruit each month. The leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. No longer will there be anything accursed, but the throne of God and of the Lamb will be in it, and his servants will worship him, and they will see his face, and his name will be on their foreheads, and night will be no more. They will need no light of lamp or sun. Why? For the Lord God will be their light, and they will reign forever and ever. Friend, if you're here today and you're not a Christian, Christ offers eternal life, eternal peace, eternal happiness and joy and delight. He offers it to those that trust in him. But friend, let me let you know that if you reject him, the only happiness you'll know is happiness in this life. Happiness that lasts for a second and is gone like that. But what Jesus is offering is what you were created for. He's offering that you can know him and enjoy him forever, eternally happy, eternally joyful. But again, if you reject him, you will not be with him in the new heavens and new earth. You will be thrown into hell, where there is no peace, no happiness, no blessedness, but only the white hot wrath of God. So friend, don't reject the benefits of wisdom. Don't reject the great treasure that we have in Christ. So quit trusting in your own wisdom and trust in God's Son. So again, I want to ask, where are you trying to find happiness today? Is it in your own wisdom? If this is you, then ask yourself this: can your wisdom offer you eternal life? Can your wisdom give you every spiritual blessing in the heavenly places? And can your wisdom give you eternal peace and everlasting happiness? Brothers and sisters, don't hold fast to your own wisdom. Hold fast to Christ. Let's pray.